Hello. Today we'll continue with Temptations Ballad. Town Square Plaza. Cole let out a deafening sneeze as he stumbled through the crowded streets of the town square. Malice slithered onto his shoulder with a curious hiss. Have you caught cold, Petey Mortal? You must see a healer immediately. It will not have it will not do to have my host die so pathetically. Cole scowled and flicked the Python on the nose. I'm fine. Someone's probably just talking shit about me. How in the world does a sneeze indicate such information? It's an old dumb superstition. But that makes no sense. You mortals grow more confounding by the day. Yeah, whatever. Cole sighed and stuffed the python back into his pockets, with Malice screaming in protest. He turned his gaze back towards the packed streets of the town square. The place had utterly transformed since yesterday. Food stalls lined the streets with festive decorations and colorful banners hanging from every wall. The delicious smell of fried snacks and festival sweets filled the air, along with the laughs and chatters of children and tourists. Bars and street performers sang and danced with a jolly, laughing audience. Many faces and crowds felt unfamiliar. Most were likely travelers and adventurers who were visiting Axia for the Firefly Festival celebrations. Bars and street performers sang and danced with a jolly, laughing audience. Many faces and crowds felt unfamiliar. Most were likely travelers and adventurers who are visiting Axia for the Firefly Festival celebrations. And here they were, filling the streets with a horde of annoying tourists. Who gave them all the right to be so damn tall? Everyone towered over him like giants, which made locating Ornaby utterly impossible. The nighthawk ran off like an overexcited puppy at the sight of the festival decorations, leaving Cole to drown in this miserable sea of tall people. So much for knights and their sense of duty. He yelled at someone and accidentally stomped on his tail. Cole recoiled and hugged his tail close, desperately trying to push his way through the wall of bodies. Hey, watch it, piece of shit. The tail stopper didn't even hear him as he was swept along the crowd. Cole grumbled. This is why he hated traveling alone. Why the hell did Ornaby have to scurry off so quickly? Boss, you okay there? A wave of relief washed over Cole at the sound of a familiar voice. He let out a triumphant yell and jumped into Sid's arms with glee. Whoa, boss, what's going on? Dude, let me ride on your shoulders. What? Carl gripped his arms pleadingly. I've been stepped on at least a dozen times since I got here. A tall guy like you would never understand the struggle. Come on, man. Adventurers are supposed to help those in need, right? I'm in need. I fucking hate crowds. Despite Cole's snark, Sid felt a sense of amused satisfaction fill his chest. Here, boss, I got you. That's much better. I can finally see. This is why it's nice to always have a tall, buff man on your payroll. Why couldn't you be here earlier? Sid couldn't help but chuckle at their ridiculous position. Cole's hands felt warm as a small hyena leaned atop his head and absent-mindedly caressed his ears. So I was busy training with Clyde this morning, then I had to rush home to grab my coin purse. Why do you think I ran into your dad while I was at Mom's tavern? Cole's eyebrow perked up curiously. Papa was at Sparrow's roost. Oh, I meant Hamas. Hamas is not my dad. The softness in Cole's voice was startling. Said Golden decided to drop the subject altogether. And anyway, did I miss anything while I was away? Not much. Barnaby ran into the crowd like an idiot, and I've been searching for her since. And put the twins' flask across Sid's chest, but he swallowed it back down with a smile. Well, this is her first festival after all. It's natural to be excited. Knowing her, she's probably gonna get mud or pickpocketed again. Maybe we should get one of those child leases for her. Did she forget that we had a job to do today? Cole grumbled as he peered into the flowing crowd. Barnaby wasn't exactly tall. Finding her would be like picking a needle out of a bigger pile of needles. They needed to find her soon. The two of them didn't exactly have the status of butter-up nobles without her. Come on, boss, relax. Finding her shouldn't be too hard. I've been looking and shouting for her for the last 20 minutes. I'd like to see you do better. Sure. Oh, hello. Greetings, Sir Sid. Hi. How the fuck? Cole, I've been caught one into a terrible predicament. All the food and game stalls seem to require money, and I lack the funds to participate. Will you be so kind as to lend me a few copper pieces? What happened to that big bag of gold I gave you after the fighting ring fiasco? I told you, it is a Holy Knight solemn duty to donate their earnings to the church. Barnaby's wagging tail drooped with a hint of saying, I know I should be placing my efforts into missing Ruby investigation right now, but it would be a shame to ignore the festival while we're here. Look at all this delicious food. You know this is a vacation day. We got work to do. Oh, now you want to act all responsible or what now? Cole opened his mouth to retort, but was caught by the sensation of something slithering up his shoulder. Puny mortal, what are these heavenly scents that I detect? Oh, that's probably all the fried street food. There's some roasted potatoes and octopus in that stall over there. My dad's probably setting up his cheese stall somewhere around here too. Manners bolted up sharply. Mortals, I command you to sample each and every one of these delicacies. My journey to the material plane will not be complete without it. The jousting and brawling tournament is in a few hours. We need to prepare. And I don't want to surf my way through this goddamn crowd again. The tiny snake's head whipped backwards with a melodramatic wail. But the smell is so enticing we must have a taste while we're here. Why must you be so cruel? Mortals must consume food to extend their already feeble lifespans, don't they? I concur with Sir Noodle. We must be in top condition before we continue pursuing our objective. And if these simple will not do. I am a bit hungry. Dude, you're supposed to be on my side. I am. I'm just saying, this might be a good chance to mingle with the crowd and catch some gossip and news about the people we're going after. What do you say, two birds with one stone? And you can keep riding on my shoulders if you want. Cole grumbled reluctantly. Keeping these idiots on track was proving more difficult than he expected. He didn't want to wrangle his way through the crowds again, but Barnaby's puppy dog eyes were difficult to resist. Alright, fine. But make it quick. And don't get too distracted by the festival stuff. We need to actually keep an eye out for suspicious folks in the area. Now that their arms were stuffed with festival snacks and food, they better start searching for suspicious folk in the area. Where should they start? Now move it. 5 feet to the right. Not my right. Why is the city watch so goddamn useless? Excuse me. Show a little gratitude, you old hag. and they even need to help you in the first place. Cole's ears perked up at the whining voice of a familiar coyote. He peered across the street at one of the many glowing crystal towers that lined the cobblestone road. Two figures were arguing furiously amongst themselves. Wes was huffing and puffing as usual while struggling to shove one of the crystals into position. Next to him, a short woman was tapping her foot in annoyance as she flexed her hand, sparks of violent magic resonating with the glowing crystal. You know, this could have been set up ages ago, before the festival even started, if the city watch didn't swamp me with busy work and cutting my funding. We were understaffed. Set up the festival was already a hassle, not to mention this fading phenomenon that's been cropping up across the city. You're lucky to receive funding or help in the first place. The woman rolled her eyes beyond her big, round spectacles. With a wave of her hand, Magic poured into the crystal and strafed its glow. She took a step back and admired her handiwork while wiping the sweat from her brow. "Oh yes, thank you for allowing me to help you do your damn job. Why couldn't you just hire a few adventurers to help me set up all these crystal towers?" Wes crossed his arms indignantly. The city watch don't consort with no adventurers. We're an independent and honorable bunch. Didn't you guys get chewed out by the church for jailing the chosen one yesterday? That was an honest mistake. It's not my fault she was consorting with morally corrupt folk like that goddamn bone breaker boy. Wes's eyes widened as he suddenly spotted Cole riding atop Sid's soldiers over the crowded streets. The coyote elbowed his colleague and jabbed an accusing finger at Cole. "Didn't you say these crystal doohickeys were supposed to sound the alarm if they were suspicious folk in the area? Why is that damn hyena allowed to just walk around willy-nilly?" The woman glanced towards Cole, his friends, with an unimpressed look. That poor boy is just minding his own business and looking adorable atop his friend's shoulders. My spells are designed to detect actual threats, not your petty personal grievances. Oh, let me assure you, the hyena is a menace to society. Carl grinned and waved towards Wes enthusiastically. "Oh, hey, Wes, did you miss me?" He was immediately met with a glare and a raised metal finger. Behind him, Artemis glanced behind Cole and Wes with a curious frown. "Odd, what was that strange gesture that Sir Wes just made towards you?" Both Sid and Cole sighed tightly. "It's called flipping the bird, Artie. It means it's a sign of great respect towards someone." Cole blinked and glanced up at Sid and Sock. "What? No, it's not." "Ah, I see. Thank you for explaining." "I always have such a hard time comprehending these strange idioms and gestures." Cole elbowed Sid. "Dude, you can't make jokes like that around Artemis. She's going to end up flipping off someone important." "Yep." Cole stared at Sid for several long moments before giving him an impressed nod. "Well, I didn't think you were capable of this kind of pettiness. Nice. She's absolutely going to kill us later, but nice." Not even a moment passed before Artemis enthusiastically thrusted her middle finger towards Wes from across the street with a grin. Wes immediately froze in flabbergasted shock. His colleague, on the other hand, almost fell over cackling with glee. "It appears you made a friend." What did I ever do to her?" "Well, besides throwing her in jail, I guess, but she did barrel through a storefront with a wagon." The woman's eyes widened and her gaze snapped towards Artemis with delight. "Wait, is that the greatest chosen?" She scurried across the street and grasped Artemis' hand in an uncomfortably tight handshake. It's a pleasure to finally have a chance to meet you. I read all about you and your kind in the magistrate's arcane records. Artemis was taken aback, but returned her handshake with a polite bow. Ah, it is nice to meet you as well. Whom do I have the honor? The name is Agatha Stoker, personal arcane researcher for the royal family. The woman's face fell. Well, former arcane researcher, good old King Roderick got tired of me being correct all the time and fired me. Now I'm just a public safety enchanter whose job is to make sure the peasantry don't set themselves on fire. What? I'm not bitter or anything. It's not like I've been severely inconvenienced from being cut off from all of my state-of-the-art research equipment and resources. Not at all. I love my new job. Agatha let out a laugh that absolutely did not sound like she loved her new job. Now I spend my time installing safety features for festivals and staff, researching life-changing science. What a glow-up. Is that the purpose of these arcane crystals? Why yes, these crystal towers are among my latest inventions. Each one of these babies are filled to the brim with various public safety spells. They detect nearby burglaries and automatically set off an alarm spell in response. They function as street lights at night, and they even put out nearby fires that exceed regulated limits. My favorite feature is a spell that screams shameful insults if you urinate in public. Man, that sounds very useful. I'm sure the city is grateful for your efforts. Agatha sighed with a tired smile. Does it? Sure wish I could say the same for everyone. That knockoff cowboy over there is the worst co-worker I could ever ask for. All this work could have been completed weeks ago. Wes gaped at her, utterly offended. I did all the heavy lifting and carried these blasted arcane crystals. The bat rolled her eyes and raised a hand to her ear. Huh? Do you hear that? I think someone is being wild down the street. What? I don't hear nothing. A shrill wail suddenly filled the air as an alarm spell was set off several blocks away. Sounds like some random citizen is in desperate need of the city watch. Why don't you go humor them yet, Wes? Wes puffed up his chest and immediately took a mad dash down the street. Ain't no troublemaker gonna cause mischief while I'm around. I'll show what the city watch is made of. The group watched as Wes struggled against the flow of the dense crowd and eventually disappeared into the distance. Not very bright, is he? The woman adjusted her glasses and turned back towards Artemis and her friends with an overly polite smile. But enough rambling from me. So, chosen one, who are your companions? I hope everyone is enjoying the festivities. Where are my manners? Allow me to introduce Cole Bonebreaker, the leader of the adventuring party I've joined recently. Hey. Cole squinted at Agatha suspiciously. Behind him, Sid waved awkwardly. Hi, I'm Sid. Yeah, don't care. Sid winced and dropped his waving hand. The woman didn't even spare him a look before leaning forward and grasping Artemis' hand firmly. This is Artemis Gantia. Can I humbly beg you for a small favor? As a royal arcane researcher, I specialize in advanced medical procedures and life-giving magic. And no magic is quite as potent as life-giving as celestial magic. Celestial magic from the greatest chosen herself, well, that will provide no end of breakthroughs for my research. Agatha's glasses glinted with excitement. Artemis leaned back uncomfortably from the researcher's closest. Could I trouble you to provide me with some samples of your magic when you have the time? It will help me continue much of my former work. Think of all the lives you could help me save. But, well, if I can assist such altruistic endeavors, I will be happy to help. It is my sworn duty as the greatest chosen to aid those in need. Agatha clapped her hands with a delighted laugh. Excellent. Oh, excellent indeed. I promise that you will not regret this. Why don't you meet me in the lab tomorrow morning? The researcher laughed and bounced on her feet like a giddy schoolgirl. Oh, this day turned out much better than I expected. Wonderful, wonderful. My research will finally advance after all these years. Suck it, Roderick. Artemis, cold and said, watched awkwardly as the older woman cackled blissfully to herself. I think this lady has a few screws loose. Artemis elbowed Cole with a scowl. Be nice. She may possess some of the information we seek. She cleared her throat loudly and turned back towards the giddy researcher. King Roderick. Do you know His Majesty well? What is he like? Oh, you know what people say. He was a decent king who advanced the proliferation of arcane crystals and magical technology. He did wonders in finding arcane researchers such as myself. But behind closed doors, it was an effort to save his wife. Agatha sighed. Poor Queen Tabitha. You know, I was in charge of finding a cure for her crippling condition. I was a good researcher, but I wasn't exactly a miracle worker. My methods managed to prolong her life for almost a decade, but eventually her health failed her. I can't blame Roderick for growing frustrated over my lack of progress, but did he really need the throat? Yes! My methods managed to prolong her life for almost a decade, but eventually her health failed her. I can't blame Roderick for growing frustrated over my lack of progress, but did he really need to throw a tantrum and fire me? I was thrown out of the Majesty's research halls too, such a waste. She adjusted her glasses and shook her head. Ah, there I go, rambling again. I better get going and finish installing these crystal towers. Hope you youngsters enjoy the festival. Artemis Cole and Sid waved goodbye as the band made her leave. As soon as she was out of earshot, Cole elbowed Artemis with a stern look. See, you really shouldn't trust every poor step you went into. That lady was like the perfect match of our suspects' description. Wizard, wimpy, and around 5 feet 10 inches tall. Artemis scowled. That describes half the magical population in this city. Didn't you say that I should utilize my status as the chosen one to our advantage? Yeah, but just be careful, will you? I don't trust that lady at all. Artemis crossed her arms stubbornly. I work with worse. Behind him, Sid scratched his head with a tired mumble. I'll just leave all the buttering up nobleman stuff to you two. I really don't have much to give here. Wait one moment. The three of them jolted up, startled. I got to dance back towards them with a look of someone who had remembered something important. She leaped out Cole, piercing his cheeks and examining him closely. Ow. Hey, hands off. You. What do you say your name was again? Bonebreaker? Now why does that sound so familiar? Her eyes widened and she took a step back. Ah yes, I remember now. One of your fathers broke into my lab many years ago and stole some of my research. I could never prove to the authorities that it was him, but I just knew. This was many, many years ago. Cole was his sore cheeks were frowned. That doesn't sound right. One of his fathers. As much as he hated to admit it, Hammond wasn't the type to get caught if he intended to steal something. That left only Papa, but he didn't have any interest in magical stuff. What did this mean? If I may ask, how old are you, young man? 23 years old. Why? The researcher's eyes narrowed. 23 years exactly. Downing realization was over her face. She smiled and stared at Cole with fascination. How interesting, Cole glared at her suspiciously. What kind of research are you accusing my papa of stealing? Agatha let out a quiet laugh and pressed her finger to her lips. It's classified, I'm afraid. However, might interest you in volunteering for my research as well? I'm certain we can learn much from each other. Cole fell quiet before slowly shaking his head. Hard pass. If I want to know, I'll just ask my papa. Agatha nodded politely and smiled. Ah, yes, more bone breaker. An infamously honest man. She bowed her head and proceeded to take her leave. Cole glared and watched her disappear back into the crowd. Boss, you okay? That was kinda weird. Cole shook his head wearily. I really don't like that one. Now that their arms were stuffed with festival snacks and food, they better start searching for suspicious folk in the area. Where should they start? Finally, a crowdless street. Cole breathed a sigh of relief as he pushed his way into the spacious fountain plaza with a sizzling grill, meat kebab in each hand. Festivals were fun and all, but he preferred his toes untrampled. He has lost track of Sid and Orderby when he hopped off the batch of soldiers to buy some snacks from the food stalls. Just one blink, and the crowd swallowed them up like a violent ocean wave. Cole sighed and sat on the edge of the fountain, munching his kebabs absent-mindedly. At least he had the chance to enjoy his food in peace. The three of them had agreed to meet up around the sporting arena, for the jousting and brawl tournament later. Finding them again should be simple enough. He just hoped the two of them won't get scammed while he was gone. Cole blinked and glanced around the street. Soul's arcane curiosities was just a short walk away. Maybe he should pay Clyde a visit. He shook his head furiously. Nah, he probably doesn't want to see me again anyway. Better avoid making any more trouble than I already have. As he took another bite of his kebab, Cole absent-mindedly rummaged around his pockets. Well, here's that second helping of snacks you begged for. You better be grateful, you little. Huh? Noodle, you there? No answer. Huh. The little shit must have sneaked out while I wasn't looking. Oh well, one less problem for me to deal with. Cole munched on his food as he sat in the middle of the plaza. He became self-consciously aware of how awkward he appeared, sitting all by himself in the middle of a festival. His surroundings felt uncomfortably quiet. The sound of his own chewing was deafening as he shuffled awkwardly in his seat. He glanced around, unsure if anyone was watching him. Cole let out a long sigh. I really shouldn't be left alone with my thoughts like this. Where the fuck did everyone go? He nodded on the wooden stick of his kebab quietly. Should really use distraction right about now. It appears my locate creature spell has found its mark. We made at last. Stand up and face me, you traitorous, ungrateful scum. Okay, maybe not this kind of distraction, Cole thought bitterly as he squinted. A foppish young man was strutting across the plaza towards him. A striped hyena looking about a year or two older than Cole. His clothes were shiny with expensive woven fabric, and his hair appeared as though he spent hours combing it to perfection. This guy was clearly noble, and around 5 feet 10 inches, too, and also has the most punchable face I have ever seen, Cole quietly noted. As the noble approached, his smug and punchable face fell when he caught sight of Cole. Wait, you're not. I was sure the spell was working correctly. He crossed his arms with an impatient huff. I'll simply looking at a dim-witted, one-eyed brute instead of some unwashed peasant. Cole grumbled quietly to himself. So he even bother talking to this guy? Yeah, might as well. Not like he's going. Not like he's got anyone else to chat with anyway. Who are you calling an unwashed peasant? The other hyena scoffed. Do you see any other naked scoundrels in rags around here? What kind of preposterous excuse for clothes are you wearing? Cole smirked and adjusted his seating position so that his legs were spread wider. I just have nothing to hide. Most folks like what they see. He stared up and down the other hyena with an unimpressed glance. I can see why you would bundle up with a bunch of expensive and frilly nonsense, though. Gotta distract folks from your shortcomings, eh? The noble clutched his chest, utterly offended. Excuse me? I will have you know that I'm quite the charmer amongst my peers. Oh, a noble who actually knows how to have fun? How scandalous. That's not what I mean. The noble crossed his arms and puffed up his chest indignantly. I do not have the answers to a lowly commoner like you. Do you have any idea who you are speaking to? No, but I have a pretty good idea of who you're looking for. What do you want with my papa? Papa? The noble's jaw dropped in a soft gape. He had children? Yep. Cody Bonebreaker, at your service. Cole bowed comically with his meat kebab still in his mouth. What can I do for you, jackass? The noble stared at him for several moments in disbelief. You don't look anything like this Bonebreaker man that grandfather described. He's supposed to be this big hulking barbarian and beastly warrior who is an underminister to society. You're just some measly want. Are you sure you're truly his kin and not some stray he picked off the side of the street? Cole scowled. The words dug under his skin more than he cared to admit. Well, I definitely inherited the menace to society part. So who are you and what do you want with Marble Bonebreaker? If you're one of those fanboys begging to be stepped on, Papa does fan meetups every other week. The noble winkled his nose at Cole as though he had smelled something foul. I don't need to explain myself to the likes of you. Now tell me where I can find this Marble Bonebreaker. I was simply on my way to the jousting tournament when I found myself in these disgusting and lowly streets. It was a good chance to catch a glimpse of this uncivilized beast en route. Papa doesn't come out during the Firefly Festival. Pompous nobles like you give him an allergic reaction. The reaction is usually a punch to the face. Well then, he certainly lives up to his barbaric reputation. Cole crossed his arms defensively. Yes, his reputation of being a strong yet kind warrior to his fellow man. Restorer of communities and destroyer of the greedy. I'm pretty sure you've got no right to talk down to him, you pompous little shit. What have you ever done? The noble scoffed and brushed his hair dramatically. You mean you don't know who I am? Surely you jest. I'm the great Calder O'Shaughnessy, sole heir to the renowned house O'Shaughnessy. My house is known across the land for their great magical prowess. My grandfather has assisted the late King Roderick himself in countless arcane projects and research efforts. My late uncle has worked closely with the church and became an utter prodigy amongst his magical peers. You would do well to respect your betters, commoner. Cole squinted, unimpressed, as the other hyena rambled on in his face. Wowee, what an accomplished family. So what have you done? The noble froze. A taunting smirk spread across Cole's face. Ah, you got nothing, do you? If you had anything worth mentioning, you would have prattle on about it by now. I will have you know that I have plenty of accomplishments in my name, and an unwashed peasant like you wouldn't understand. No, I think I get it. An accomplished noble arcanist wouldn't be sent to commoner streets like this. You wouldn't even be attending the jousting tournament. You'd be invited to a big fancy party in the noble district right now. But you weren't worth inviting, eh? Cole Winston took a step backwards. What an accomplished family you've got. Must be a lot of pressure to live up to their magical deeds. But you weren't good enough, were you? So now you're off to the jousting tournament to make a name for yourself. Maybe if you win, you'll finally have something worth bragging about. Do you have the gist of it? Calder gaped at him for several long moments before clearing his throat. He adjusted his collar distractedly. What a wild imagination you have, commoner. You must think yourself clever. Cole shrugged. Not really. Just warning you, buddy. Going around calling folks unwashed commoners might make you feel a little better, but sure ain't gonna win you many friends. Cole wolfed down the last of his goodbye with a sly grin. Say, word on the streets that a bunch of magical rubies went missing. Rubies that could provide a maid desperate for strength and status with some much-needed power. You wouldn't happen to know anything about that, would you? The other hyena's ears perked up with interest before quickly lowering with caution. I have no need for such trinkets. Any accomplishments I achieve will be gained by my own power. Cole watched the noble closely. His reactions don't appear to be of recognition or an attempt to hide anything. This guy didn't have the best poker face anyhow. The chance of this Calder secretly being the cloak maid seemed unlikely, but Cole couldn't say for sure. Think whatever you like, what? My magical prowess is its worst. At its worst will still be miles above you at your best. I still hope so. I can't even do magic. The noble blinked in surprise. That can't be right. My arcane senses are keener than most. You most certainly have traces of spell casting on you. That brute may be an utter disappointment, but I commend the fact that he managed to sire a child with at least a tiny hint of magical potential. Quater knows he certainly didn't have the talent for it himself. Cole's hackles rose. Sounds like your senses are as good as you think. I've never cast a single spell in my life. His jaw tensed as Calder leaned closer with a curious frown. No, you absolutely have the hallmarks of a spellcaster, and I'm telling you that you're absolutely wrong. Calder glared at Cole with a mixture of confusion and disbelief. His voice shook with agitation. Well, bold-faced lie, and a reasonless one at that. Magical strength is the pillar upon which a person's worth is weighed. You are already a lowly peasant. Why do you deny yourself this tiny sliver of value? Yeah, maybe to nobles. Around here we put more stock into how not an asshole people are. Which I'm not winning any prizes for, but I'm still leagues ahead of you there, buddy. The other hyena growls and shakes his head in frustration. You don't even understand what you're saying, do you? Magic is everything. Some people devote their entire lives into arcane studies. Endless days and nights spent meticulously studying arcane tomes in hopes of getting the smallest scrap of magical strength. The militant beratings and beatings we endure should we fail to meet expectations. And you, who was born with a potential for magic so carelessly discarding your own gifts. This is an insult to everything my family and I stand for. Calder panted breathlessly, fangs bared with infuriated frustration. Cole glared back at the other hyena, coldly. He had suddenly hit a sore spot. I don't know what you're rambling on about, but let me make this very clear. I am not a mage. Capice? Calder growled, his shoulders shaking with sheer rage and disbelief. That man has truly poisoned your mind, hasn't he? Just because he was a failure of a mage doesn't mean he has to drag the rest of us down with him. There's not a problem, is there? The two of them suddenly jumped. Hammond was standing behind Cole, arms crossed with a stern expression. Calder suddenly looked terrified. You, as I said, is there a problem? The noble took several steps back. All that aggressive rage instantly evaporated in nervous fear. No, none whatsoever. Why would I even waste my time quarreling with you lone-born folk? And what makes you think you have the right to even speak with me? Hammond continued staring flatly at the flustered noble. There's a bruise on your cheek. Where is it from? Calder's hand leapt to his face with surprise. That's none of your business. I've wasted enough time here with you lot. I'll be taking my leave. Hammond nodded and bowed curtly. Very well. Please give Gaius Sanity my warmest regards. Calder looked shocked and hesitated for a moment. After a beat, he quickly fled the plaza without another word. Cole watched the whole exchange with a raised brow. What was that all about? Hammond shrugged. Not much. Just figured I'd step in before you bit off more than you could chew. I can handle myself just fine. Of course you can. I just wanted to be nosy. Cole stuck his nose out. You're always nosy. And speaking of being nosy, how do you know this asshole? Hammond stole a quick glance across the plaza at Calder's retreating figure. Well, I don't know this young man specifically, but I did work for his family for some time in my youth. You did? You don't seem like the type who'd make nice with nobles. Hammond smirked. Making nice? The last time I saw Gaius Sanity, the man was screaming with an arrow sticking out of his shoulder. I was not the only one around here with an allergic reaction to nobles. What? You're looking at me funny. Nothing. I just realized that I don't really know much about you. Hammond shrugged. You never asked. Cole scratched his neck and stared at his feet awkwardly. Yeah, I guess not. He cleared his throat loudly. Anyway, what are you doing out here in the Firefly Festival? You never seem like the celebrating type. I've been telling you. What? Why? Hammond saw Cole's stern look. The cloak maid obviously knows you possess one of the missing rubies. If they catch sight of you out in public like this, they might make a move to take it back. You've been using me as bait? You made yourself into a piece of bait. I'm merely here to make sure you don't get snatched. Speaking of which, you really shouldn't be traveling alone like this. Oh please, nobody's going to make a move on me in broad daylight in the middle of a crowded festival. Hammond shook his head firmly. You'd be surprised what people can pull off, especially if this maze is as strong as you claimed. Just promise me that you'll stay with your friends whenever possible. It'll make me worry a little less. Speaking of which, the older hyena rummaged through the many pockets of his cloak. After a beat, he pulled out a small spool of metallic wire and handed it to Cole. Here, I figured you should take this. Cole squinted at the spool of wire suspiciously. If you're trying to drag me into one of your fishing traps again, no, it's trap wire made of pure aetherite. It's a metal that conducts magic and spells very efficiently. Since you're not exactly an offensive spellcaster, you might find this kind of subterfuge tool useful. Cole glared between hammers and the spool. He reluctantly stuffed it into his pockets. You never stop being a mother hen, do you? Well, thanks, I guess. Hammond's blanket of surprise. Who are you, and what did you do to Cole? I think I've ever heard you thank me unsarcastically. Cole puffed up his chest indignantly. Oh, this is what I get for being nice for once. Don't expect it again anytime soon. With a huff, he stomped his way down the plaza. Hey, where are you going? The fine ornament said, I'd rather not have you telling me all day. Go be a mother hen somewhere else. Emma stared at Cole's retreating figure with an incredulous look. He actually listened for once. I mean, his attitude still as foul as ever, but he listened. Marwo, what kind of talk do you give him? Now that their arms were stuffed with festival snacks and food, they better start searching for suspicious folk in the area. Where should they start? Alright, so I'm going to stop right here, right now. So it looks like Cole is finally taking his father's advice and being more nicer to Cole. Being more nicer to Hamlis now. He's still kind of cold to Hamlis, but it's starting to crack a little bit because he actually thanked Hamlis for the help, for him aiding him and being able to use his powers better to defend himself. So it's a good start. And Sid is not quite as innocent as he seemed to be. I mean, he could be real petty. I don't know petty, but I don't know what petty. I won't say petty, but he's certainly really jealous because of who his friends are. Ornament being the Quater's chosen, and Cole being the son of the legendary Moral Bonebreaker. And that bad lady showed a lot of interest in Ornament, and then after a while she came back and she had some interest in Cole. Well, remaining not interest, but she certainly gave Cole some attention, and while Ornament was introducing Cole and Sid the bad lady basically like just tuned Sid out, like he was nobody to her, like she wasn't interested in Sid at all. And I was actually starting to like the bad lady, but the way she treated Sid I didn't like that. She reminded me too much of the common uppity person, noble. I don't know if she's a noble herself, but she seemed to be in a high-ranking position, to work for the king. So I didn't like the way she treated Sid like he was a nobody. So that didn't help with Sid. He feels like he's useless, and that he's inadequate, and that he has no purpose. He's getting really jealous. I mean, he even lied when Ornament asked what this middle finger gesture was, and Sid lied and said that it was a sign of respect when it wasn't. I don't know who gave the middle finger to Cole. I think it was that guy who was over the watch, over the that guy that Cole been annoying, giving a headache to, who's the head of the city watch. I think he was the one who gave Cole the middle finger, and Sid lied when Ornament told him what that gesture meant by saying it was a gesture was a great respect, but it wasn't a gesture of great respect. It was the opposite. It was a gesture of disrespect and contempt. So, he's getting a little jealous. Well, maybe he is getting petty. I mean, but he's a little bit petty. So, but he's still not innocent like he appeared to be early on. I mean, he's still innocent, but not as much. I mean, he's still I still like him as a character, as a person, but there's certainly more to said than what we've seen earlier in the story. Like, there's more to him. Like, yes, he's a nice person, but he can also be real jealous. He can be a little petty and lie. Like one character said, who was that? Was it Orlamy or Sid or whoever? I forgot. But one of them said that, hey, even nice, even good people could be bad sometimes. Like, will do bad things at times. Just like you got some bad people who can occasionally do some good things. You got some bad people, but they do have a code of honor. So, like, you have a bank robber, but they have like this code of honor where they don't kill people. So, anyway, I saw that kind of bank robber in some show before, but anyway. So, what else? So that O'Shaughnessy guy, he's a typical noble, looks down on Cole and doesn't like commoners at all. And Cole called him out because O'Shaughnessy, I forgot his first name, Gaius O'Shaughnessy, wait a minute. Anyway, his last name is O'Shaughnessy. But anyway, Cole called him out because he has to prove himself, and his father, who's a noble, won't let him be around the other nobles until he has proven himself. So he's in the commoner area, and it seems though, while he did talk a lot of crap about Cole, he did kind of got really. I think he grabbed his attention of the fact that Cole actually said that he was not a mage, and that O'Shaughnessy knew that Cole was lying because he had some mage power to him. He could sense that Cole did have some magic power, and even though according to O'Shaughnessy, even though Cole was a weakling in his head, he still believed that for him to not use it would be a waste. So it seemed like even despite all that bad talk O'Shaughnessy gave to Cole, even he saw some value in Cole. So he's a big believer in magic, unlike Cole's father, Marlowe. He still didn't have a lot of interest in his father, Marlowe Bonebreaker. He's actually thought that Marlowe Bonebreaker had a child. I wonder if maybe there might be some connection there. Not just with Cole, but like with him and Marlowe Bonebreaker. I mean, they look kind of alike. But anyway. I kind of liked it when Sid let Cole climb on his back so he could see the crowd better, because Cole complained about the crowd being so tall, so many tall people they couldn't see where Army was at. So he asked Sid to let him be on top of him, be on his upper back, and Sid agreed. So that was cute. Okay, so That's it for now. We'll continue next time. So thank you all very much for watching. Goodbye.